we requested officers like Deepak sir, Jag sir, ki sir aise, if you can, guide officers who are transitioning, who are confused as to how to go about it. तो मेरे को तो खुद बहुत ज़्यादा नौकरी का आइडिया भी नहीं था. Then Jag sir came, Jag sir referred some officers, Deepak sir, and that's how we started doing some talks. And I don't know आप में से कितने लोगों ने देखा है. Some of you have attended some live talks, some of you have been a part of the groups, and then some of you have also been a part of the YouTube channel and all. Then the platform today, we are working in advisory in career transition, progress, real estate, finance, legal. There is a matrimonial group, which is incidentally my postmate's wife is handling that. He's here amongst the audience. Career advisory, SSB के अंदर कुछ officers हैं. There's an officer, he advises along with an IPS officer. They provide free coaching to short service officers who want to do UPSC preparation. So a lot of work is happening, and more than 11 volunteers together now are working for the community. And I would like to name them because otherwise the opening monologue would not be complete. So Colonel C.K. Sharma, Colonel Shushobit Kamra, Squad Leader Neha Rathi, Colonel Lalit Taharbhadrakar Sena Medal, Colonel Sanjeev Balyan, Subodh Kaushik, Mrs. Kavita Krishna, Ravindra Gehlawat, Amit Parashar, Hemant Singh, Ravi Ranjan. In addition, we are also supported by our video editing team. The editor is right here, जो हमारा channel manage करता है. He is also son of an ex-serviceman. ये सफेद कपड़े में लंबा साड़ी में है. And आज के event का फिर I had no idea of doing this event and all. And वो भी आएगा तो I'll tell him that you're too early for the next event. वो रास्ते में he is Lieutenant Bhaskar Shukla, ex-Navy. He kept on egging me कि सर कोई event करते हैं. And he pursued me almost for 6 months. इवेंट किया और परसों बोला सर मुझे याद नहीं रहा था, मेरा तो आज मॉर्निंग में मैराथन है. सो मैंने कहा ठीक है, तो मैराथन भाग में तेरे दिन में 2 बजे फ़ोन करूँगा, सो दैट यू आर अप एंड अवेक एंड कम फॉर द इवेंट. सो फाइनली आई विल mention my special thanks to all veterans and guests who agreed to join us, and most important, the speakers who have agreed to join us today. So generally you will find in these events speakers आते हैं. None of the speakers wanted to be treated any differently. All the speakers have paid for attending the event today. So I would first request you all to give them an applause on that behalf. So I'll open the summit, and the keynote speaker today is Major Gurpawan Sandhar after Gary sir. I'll give a small introduction of Gary sir, and then I'll hand over the stage to him. So allow me to introduce Major Gurpawan Sandhar. So they say that pressure changes everything. आप पे दबाव आता है, it changes everything. Most of the people, they fold under pressure, and a very few they perform. And that's how I would define Major Gurpawan Sandhar Aka Gary sir to you. He is a gold medalist, Sword of Honor, OTA SS64 course. Then he joined the 5 Para SF. After that, he got a best in bios. Then he got a best in commandos. Then he quit after 5 years, and he has been consistently rewarded for leading risk oblique BCP professional across India. I can very safely say that Gary sir kind of introduced the idea of risk and BCP to the corporates the way it is understood and perceived today. When he started with Accenture, sir, that was the first practice which you started in Bangalore, and then he overtook. He started with Pinkerton, and beyond that, I would request Gary sir to come and share his learnings with you. Everyone, please give him an applause.
Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you, Vipul, for inviting me here. Although I'm very nervous that I quit in 2002. And I've never been among so many army officers at one go after that time. So whosoever is my senior, respectable seniors, and all other colleagues, I'm here to possibly do justice to what I've been doing professionally. But I'm going to take liberty of also sharing some of my personal thoughts. I think possibly I'm here because I've been working with a company called Iris Consulting. Some of you may have heard about it. It's the largest risk consulting company started by an Indian. In fact, not only 8 offices in India, we have an office each in Dubai, Bahrain, Muscat, Nigeria, Singapore, Philippines, and marketing presence in London as well as Melbourne. So possibly that's the reason I'm here. But before I go to Iris Consulting, I have some of my personal thoughts I do want to share. And these thoughts are more around, I really see the transition. I do not know whether you find it tough, you find it easy, you find it comfortable. But the way I look at it, I always see any transition is exciting. And when you're doing this transition, irrespective of the cause, you're doing it voluntarily, you completed your age, you did your staff college, you did higher command, whatever you did, or you didn't make it to rank, whatever you did, this is the perfect restart button you're pushing. Everything what you did behind doesn't matter. Here's a perfect restart button. And this unique restart, you can do it even with the new software, new hardware, and everything is new. And generally, when I get an interactive opportunity with some of the people who want to transition, my thought is that the biggest element that I have found after coming outside is the element of freedom. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to achieve, whichever city you want to work, whichever department you want to work. So you do not have the limitations of MS branch telling you, you'll work in this city, this is your posting, you'll only do this much. So it's the element of freedom, the whole horizon opens up to you. You want to be a journalist, you want to be a politician, you want to pursue business, you want to do a job, whichever field you want to go to, it's absolutely, absolutely open. So that's the level of freedom is in front of you. And I'm very sure, at least when I see this much of freedom, I get very excited that I can really paint in any direction with any colors that I want to do. So please enjoy this moment because it's a wonderful restart you're going to go for. And at the same time, yes, if you decide that you would like to be, let's say, possibly a news reporter, no problem. Only thing is, since you've not been doing that job, you will have the fresher tag. You will be a youngster in that industry. Maybe once again the way you were bios. It may be a couple of years of little lower salary than the age bracket you belong to, little lower rank than the age bracket you belong to, but with the experience you're carrying, the skill set you're carrying, the determination you're carrying, the grit you're carrying, just 2 years, you'll be at par with anybody who's been there for that many years. So even if you decide that you want to be more experimental, because this is the moment you were waiting for, go ahead, try it. Yes, be ready to take 2 steps back from the age bracket you are, but we all know when tiger takes 2 steps back, attacks with a leap, that nobody can stand in front of the tiger. So that's more on the personal side that I wanted to mention. And these are very strong thoughts. I always feel is the element of freedom you should enjoy the most. And have your objectives very clear. Even if you have come outside to earn money, go in that direction. Then let's search in the industry which job pays the maximum money or which business will be better for you. If you have come outside to fulfill some other achievements, do that way. If you come outside to say that, yes, I want to be professionally engaged, but I have my hobbies. My army career was so busy, never allowed me to do that. Go for a balanced approach. So the biggest choice you have is, you choose your posting, you decide whether you're going to be, which department working for, which city working for. So a lot of those choices are in your hand. Going back to risk consulting, where Iris Consulting right now contributes. It's quite an open domain, and I know I've been particularly mentioned that do talk about security, because a lot of people do come out by thinking security is guarding. Although I do not trust that wisdom anymore, because I think even within the army, a lot of exposure is available. People, especially who are planning transition, I've seen them attending a lot of events within the corporate. I've seen them going for various courses, whether they are towards the information security side or they are towards the physical security side. So there are tons of things which you already possibly have prepared in case you are planning to go towards risk management. I'll not even call it security, because security is a very minuscule, small part of the overall risk management. The differentiator being, when we talk about business, and yeah, that's maybe very soon you realize, but maybe it took time for me to realize that my objective from country, while being in the uniformed services, has to change to money while being outside the corporate world. Your objective is saving the country, and whatever you do in between is okay. But outside here, if you're part of any company, that company exists to do business, to make money. And unless it makes money, even you will not get your salaries. So objective is very clear. Country and a lot of things, defense, attack, and law and order, and everything else. But it's country, primarily country. Over here is business. You will have various different setups. Setups like Tatas for doing business. But whatever they earn goes back to charity. And then there are setups. Whatever they earn is going back to increase their own growth. And then there are setups who again have different ways to utilize what money they have. A lot of them have more employee benefits, some of them do not have that. But objective is making money. Whatever way it might be presented, this is a very crude way to mention. The objective is country, when you're in the uniform. Now, even if you're a support function, which means you might be in HR, you might be facility, admin, your goal is to ultimately support the business to make more money by being stable if you're providing HR and admin and other support, or saving cost, adding to the bottom line. So that's the objective. So when you're doing that objective, when we say risk management, it basically means anything and everything that is needed to ensure the business becomes successful. There are no disruptions. There is no slowdown. Resources available. All comes under risk management. Although in various forums I say that all the CEOs and top business leaders only have two functions to perform. They can list down as many, but there are just two functions. First is planning, second is risk management. Your plan is based on market, resources you have, how you're going to achieve it, everything else. And then you're ensuring that plan becomes successful. What does it mean? That whatever disruptions can come in, whatever changes can come in, even if the market is becoming better for you, how you explore that for your benefit. So you're really doing risk management and nothing else. This might be named HR, this might be named funding, this might be named anything else. But you're ensuring there is no risk to that plan and company still achieves that plan which has been agreed at a point of time. Smaller companies, obviously lower visibility, but same thing is done by even the listed companies which are being traded in, whether it's a New York Stock Exchange or Bombay Stock Exchange. So that's in very rough manner what risk management is. It's primarily a mixed practice of consulting and implementation. In consulting, you do advisory, you provide your advice, nothing more than that. Implementation, yes, if the company doesn't have means, you also help them to achieve the same. So this doesn't include really deploying guards. Somebody may do it as part of the implementation later, but the overall risk management practice is more of a consulting and advisory practice rather than goes to a very brass tacks kind of stuff. Yes, there are people who will implement, then whether the guards come in, the artificial intelligence comes in, the new age equipment comes in, and everything else comes. Within this is business continuity, within this is disaster recovery, and so on and so forth. I don't want to get technical. because that will be more relevant only for the segment of people who want to go in that direction. But yes, something which again, before I conclude, I do want to mention that if a lot of you are looking at picking up a job, and you're looking at picking up a job linked to the remuneration, so then having spent maybe a little bit more time in the corporate world, it's my duty to let you know which segment you need to target and where the salaries are much higher. So the salaries you will find are highest among the financial advisors. All right, these advisors can be individual in nature, company in nature. You must have heard of companies such as Goldman Sachs, such as JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. So not only their CEOs get higher paid, the chief security officers also much higher paid than the market practice. So that's maybe if you're looking at remuneration as a key goal, this is the direction you need to go for. Then in the second tier, you'll find a lot of consulting companies. And these consulting companies can be hardcore consulting to risk management consulting. There'll be difference among them, but yes, they can be Boston Consultings and McKinsey's and a lot of risk consulting companies as well. And very close, you'll find IT. And though IT also will have a distinction between the Googles will be higher and some of the small IT companies will be a little lower. The Indian IT companies towards much lower side, whether they're Infosys, Wipro. This is no sort of respect to all, and there is no reason to say that why they are so and why they are not. I'm just providing you fact. So if your focus is higher remuneration, the direction you need to go to. And then after this is completed, then are other manufacturing setups. Right? And in between, obviously, there can be a parallel thing when a startup comes up, how much they're funded will dictate how much you get paid. Right? So a lot of those factors also come into play. But before I conclude, I know I only had this much time. One of the key things is enjoy the freedom, feel excited. There's something wonderful in front of you. Grab the opportunities, enjoy the ride. That's all.
Thank you, sir, for the informative talk. I came here and I see many young officers. Sir, there are many young officers here. Those who are looking for jobs, sir. I'm not in that field, sir, but I see a lot of confusion here among the young officers. How to approach and most importantly, whom to approach. So can you give advice on that part, sir?
Sure, thank you, sir. I'll maybe, if others did catch it well, just to repeat the question. There are people who look forward to gaining some kind of assignment, whether in terms of job or whatever that can be, whom to approach and how to approach, right? That's you're trying to. So I'm very sure possibly a lot of you have already made your good resumes, but few things are very important here. And believe me, this sometimes sitting on the corporate side for longer time is very annoying. There are some Naukri.coms and whosoever started this trend. They say you make your CV like this. And they'll also advise you, if you were CEO, you write COO. You this, you write this. It doesn't help at all. Don't get into generalization. First of all, your CV is expected to match the job description that you want to apply for. Let me tell you, most of the large setups, there is nobody who reads your CV. The moment the CV comes up, there is artificial intelligence reading the CV. That means the key terms written in the job description, if they're not in your CV, you're ranked much lower. So if you're applying, first of all, if you're applying for a certain position, please read the job description. Even to remain within the people who will be called for interviews, you need to use the keywords and repeat them here in your resume. Whether you're doing it through LinkedIn or any other channel. So that's maybe a first tip I'd like to give. The second is, if you are reaching out, try to understand what exactly that company does and not focus so much on all the great achievements you're coming with. I'm going to make a very blunt statement, but let me tell you, and it's only to help. A lot of us assume the world is waiting for me. शायद मेरी तो एप्लीकेशन भी ट्रैक हो रही थी, कह रहा है इस दिन ये बाहर आ रहा है, इसको पकड़ना है. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने वाला. You need to make yourself relevant for that company and that position. it'll be that much tough. When we screen a lot of candidates, a lot of companies, we help them recruit. One position getting 200 army officers and another 800 people who are already outside is common. So make yourself more relevant. Make yourself more attuned to what they want you to do. And during the interaction, if you know what the company does, is very important than what you've done till today. Anybody and everybody will answer what you've done till today. But what you're going for is key. So that's maybe a few of the tips. This can become a very long session, so I want to halt it there. And also you mentioned that way to reach out. I think these days, there are a lot of executive courses. If you're doing that, there are placement interviews which as such go up. If you are planning to join a particular industry, outside, every industry has got forums. Every industry. You want to join a data center setup, data center guys do their conferences, do their seminar. You want to be part of gaming industry, there's a gaming industry. You want to be part of wherever. Please look for their events, be physically present there to understand what they do, and during the interaction, make yourself relevant to some of the key decision makers that what you can provide. There is nothing better than this. Sending out a lot of emails, possibly believing they're read, nothing of that stuff happens. So maybe, in short, the biggest successful factor can be go to that industry segment where you want to be, physically present, interact with some of the key decision makers, understand them, and make them understand you. That might be the biggest bridge you can create for a possible employment. Yeah, I hope at least some things are.
Gary, I'm Colonel Choudhary. I'm SS58. I put in my PMR after 29 years of service. I'm a gunner, and I think a lot of people here are, I would call them GD, in the sense that we are not from technical branches, infantry, RT, armor. How much relevant is it for me today, being a gunner, since I don't have a technical background, to pursue a career in the field of risk management, vis-a-vis I try and go in for, let's say, a technical stream, or maybe facility management, or maybe administration. Is security, risk management today as relevant, since there's so much competition? All of us are DD guys, so all of us would be eyeing security or risk management. Can you throw some light onto this?
So, thank you, sir, and I'm glad you're looking much younger than the experience you're counting, at least much younger than me, sir. So, I think this is a very, very relevant question. Outside world really has computer as your personal arm. So the way you are within military and you don't have a weapon, you're not a soldier. Outside world, if you don't have a computer, you're no one. Right? At least to be even a little bit above the base. Only guys who do not hold computer outside are security guards, housekeeping folks, cleaners, and people like those. But at the same time, this computer and you, there is no personal assistance in between. There is no CO who can give a dictation. And somebody will write down, come back with a draft, you with a red pen again will do something on it. So you will deal with this weapon yourself. It's like war. So knowing how to handle your computer, whether it's your typing skills, Excel, PPT and all that. If you know this much, sufficient. If you don't know even this much, please gear up to be at least till this level that you and your computer are able to talk to each other and do your own work. Beyond this, the need of technicality is very need-based. Which line you want to go for and how you want to go for. Let me tell you, outside world, if you know more of computers, and these days, if I really talk about the overall part of risk management or maybe something goes wrong, there is something called forensics. So if you know digital forensics, you're really in demand. But that doesn't mean that you really need to be there, because everybody cannot be there either. So knowing your own machine, whether earlier you had a weapon, now you have a computer, is basic minimum. Beyond that is need-based. So in your free time, typing speeds, knowing these gadgets. And I believe these days also, although it was not earlier when I quit in 2002, now I believe a lot of officers actually play on PPTs to make their own even discussion of war games and stuff. So maybe that's one skill a lot of you will have come with. But the typing speeds and possibly some Excel work in some of the basic tools are really up. Beyond that, not really. So if you do not know how the Tableau works, if you do not know how the artificial intelligence code is written, it's not a requirement at all. It's not a requirement at all. So knowing human machine, if this is there, that is sufficient. Now comes the situation of if you know only this much, where will you go? Yes, some of the fields where you only need this much, not a problem. But if you decide that you would like to be part of some industry or somewhere else, then you need to learn those additional tools. Like I often talk about whether you want to be a journalist or if you like to be part of even a very well-oiled HR mechanism, then even over there, the need to know HR tools will exist. Even if you're within the risk management, how the social media sifting can be done, how that can be made as extract of a good inputs from there, that'll be must. So there'll be need-based requirements, but knowing basic should not stop you from doing anything else. So there is no need to worry that you need huge amount of advanced information, but knowing you and computer are able to work without a PA on it is the base. And that will ensure that you're eligible for every assignment. Right?
Gary sir, would you further try and tell a bit about what risk management, when the officers are just coming out, what kind of roles they can target?
So again, it can actually, like I said, bit of group of the people might be interested, but some may not be. But if Vipul is saying that, I'm very sure that means it's needed. So when you talk about risk management, what we're looking at, like I said, whatever can go wrong. Let's take a very simple example. If you decided to run 100 meters in 13 seconds, you practiced enough, you are able to do in 13 seconds. Right? That's your task. There's a timeline and your objective is set. Now, if somebody puts 2 hurdles in between, what's your risk? The hurdles can slow you down. All right? Somebody puts a wall in between. You can be totally stopped. Right? So you and your objective, whatever can come in between you and your objective is the risk. And something that you will do to ensure you still achieve your objective is risk management. You may dig a hole down below it and cross. You may have so much of energy you can run through the wall, or you may go by side and still continue. So all these are risk mitigation techniques, whatever you decide. So that means that's the base. So what happens is most of the time when military guys are playing a role, we are not really playing a very strong role in the financial side of risk management. So there are a lot of non-financial risk management techniques. The first one obviously is basically to do risk assessments in terms of what can go wrong. So there's a huge need of understanding the situation. So for example, an oil exploration company wants to go to Manipur and wants to start oil exploration there. So before the company makes a plan, actually they'll get hold of a risk consultant and say, you tell me what are the risks there, and you'll also advise on risk mitigation. So obviously you, having served there or knowing that terrain, you become the specialist. You're the expert to let them know. And the risk over there you'll not assess is only from the point of view of some terrorism disrupting your operations. You have to really think from a lot of other different angles. Logistics supply chains, internet connectivity, support from people, natural disasters, event-based situations. Example, we know now there is huge amount of problem because the two communities are fighting. But the problem is of a severe nature that no business can operate. That means again, over there you would have only thought about peace, but now if you're a risk consultant, you look at, I'm losing money because I've got my assets there, I'm not able to do anything. Right? Now that's maybe one side of it. Then comes, already mentioned, like business continuity planning. If this event takes place, how will I ensure my business continues to operate? This also takes a bit of IT side, servers, machines, softwares, lot of that component will come in. Obviously, there is asset protection. And assets are not only the nature of non-living aspects, but your CEO is also asset. For example, there are some very large conglomerates who really have the biggest asset as the CEO or CMD or whatever that position can be. If that one person is not available, the complete company can crumble down. So that means your executive protection efforts for that CEO will be different than somebody else. Right? So kind of all the protection measures you need to put in to guard that CEO will be very different. Similarly, there actually it can extend to a bit of technical. I'm trying not to be technical, but I think this much is okay because everybody may not be going in that field. Then they have other speakers also to look at.
Thank you so much, sir. For risk, we have a panel discussion and we have another professional, Niharika. She'll also be sharing about risk and VCP. Suffice to say, the number of officers I know in risk management, most of them are executive branch Navy or infantryans or armored corps. So I would like to believe that the bulk of officers who are in this industry, and the industry is pretty rewarding. It's fairly rewarding in terms of remuneration, and more than remuneration, the amount of work they make you do. So it's easily a 70-80 hour work week when there is workload. Would you agree with that, sir? So I mean, Midcat Advisory, another firm, Colonel Samendra Kumar, he's an armored corps officer. Major Ranjit Sinha, he is from the Maratha Line. Their CEO is Commander Pawan Desai, Executive Branch of Navy. Then Inquest owner Praveen Daya, he's an infantryman. Artillery, another Praveen, the same name, he's an infantryman, oblique Army Service Corps. And similarly, Pinkerton, present CEO or something, is again an infantry officer, I guess.
No, it's a Rohit Karnataka.
Okay. But there are a lot of officers from, I don't know if we call it GD or let's say non-engineering officers, but otherwise officers who have a certain mindset of understanding risk and strategy and being able to consult the corporates as to how they can manage their business. So in a very, very crude way, I'll say the risk people, they kind of create the entire framework as to how under all circumstances your commercial venture can continue to produce the goods and service you have to produce and service your clients and get paid for it. So thank you so much, Gary sir. Thank you so much for your time. So Gary sir mentioned after the topmost hierarchy in terms of remuneration is the financial services, and the second he said is consulting.